Hey everybody, this is Miss Campbell, and today we are on Module 19, Lesson 4, Solving Problems with Bar Graphs. So if you would, please open up your Go Math book to page, it'll be Volume 2, page 641. Grab a pencil and get ready to do your math. Okay, today we're going to be looking at how we can solve problems by using bar graphs. It says here, Jordan took a survey of his classmates to find out their favorite team sport. He recorded the results in the table at the right. How can he show the results in a bar graph? Okay, now we talked yesterday a little bit about, or in the day before, about different graphs. This chart is a tally chart. The data or the information is represented by tally marks. And so today we're going to do bar graphs. Okay, so we're going to make a bar graph using the information up here. And one of the things that I told you yesterday and the day before is whenever you have tally marks like this, it's easier if you write a number next to that instead of having to count it every single time. So remember when you have the tally marks and it has a line going across it, how many does that represent? Right, it represents 5. So you don't have to go through there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know that if it goes across, there's 5. So you have confidence in that. So let's count how many liked the favorite team sport was soccer. It's 5, 10, 12. So next to this, I would put a 12 on soccer. Okay, on basketball, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And write all those numbers in. It says 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and then the last one, football, is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so those voting for favorite team sport, there were 12 that liked soccer, 4 that liked basketball, 14 that liked baseball, and 9 that liked football. All right, so when we're making a bar graph, you have to remember to write a title at the top to show what the graph is about. So the title was already on this, the tally graph or tally chart. So let's write it over here. It's going to be favorite, F-A-V-O-R-I-T-E, favorite team, T-E-A-M, sport, S-P-O-R-T. And then we need to label the side of the graph to tell what those bars are representing. So they have us here, we're going to do a horizontal bar graph first. Okay, so the first thing we're going to put here is soccer, okay, S-O-C-C-E-R. The next sport is basketball, B-A-S-K-E-T-B-A-L-L. Then baseball, B-A-S-E-B-A-L-L. And football, F-O-O-T-B-A-L-L. So you should have labeled down the side here. Now, you know, if ever I get ahead of you or I'm going too fast, just pause the video, catch up, and then hit play again. Okay, now we've got to remember we're going to mark the increments down here. Now we have to go to at least 14, okay? So so if you count them by ones, that'd be one, so be 0, right? Always you start at 0. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that wouldn't get us up to 14, would it? So our increments are going to have to be more than 1, counting by 1. So let's count by 2s and see if we have enough for 14. So if we went 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yes, that would work. So we're going to count even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16 is that last line coming down. And these are the number of votes, N-U-M-B-E-R, of votes, V-O-T-E-S. These are the number of votes. So how many votes did soccer get? Soccer got 12. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go all the way out to 12. So here's 12. I kind of sometimes do these backwards like this. So I'll go like this, go out to 12, and then we're going to shade in that bar graph just a little bit. Doesn't have to be beautiful, but it has to be enough to see that it is a bar going out there. Can you see that? Okay, basketball. How many voted for basketball? There were only 4. So we're only going to go out to the 4. So 2, 4. Okay, and then we color that in. We shade that in. Baseball that's the 14. So it's going to be the next to last line that we're going to go out to. Going to go all 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And then we're going to, I like to draw the 2 lines out and then shade it in. I think that's easier to do. Okay, so like I said, just a quick shade. This isn't an art contest or anything like that, but it's just enough to shade it so you can see that is a bar going out. Football, it was 9. Now, 9 isn't one of our numbers here, right? So do you remember what we do for the number 9? Right, it's halfway between 8 and 10, right? 8, 9, 10. So halfway in between the 8 and the 10, that's where our bar graph is going to stop. Our bar for this one is going to stop halfway between the 8 and the 10 because that represents 9, because 9 is halfway between 8 and 10. All right, so we have now just drawn our first bar graph. Congratulations. All right, turn it over to 642. It says, Matt's school is having a walkathon to raise money for the school library. Matt made a pictograph to show the number of miles some students walked. Make a bar graph of Matt's data. Use a scale of 0 to whatever it's going to be and mark the scale by something. Okay, so let's look here. Now this bar graph that's in the picture up here is counting by what? By 2's, because each shirt equals 2 miles, okay? So let's look here. So we're going to count by 2. So Sam had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. He had a total of 10 miles that they walked in the walkathon. Matt went 2, 4, and then what's a half of 1? If you're counting by 2's, half of 2 is 1, so it's 4 plus 1 more, which is 5, okay? And then Ben just has 1, so that would equal 2 miles. Wait, on this one I messed up as 2. No, it's right. Never mind. Miss Campbell's struggling today. Okay, look at Erica's. Count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8. Erica had 8. Okay, so now we've kind of labeled our graph. We know kind of what our numbers are. So let's go over here and look at the bar graph that we're going to have to be making. Okay, now we're always going to start with 0, and we're actually going to go, this one is going to go upward, okay? So the number down here on the bottom line is 0. Now the highest we need to go is 10, so we have to have at least 10. So can we count by 1's? Can we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? No. Can we count by 2's? Remember, we have to get to at least a 10, so that would be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yes, we can count by 2's, just like what the shirts were. So we're going to go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then that top line represents 12. Okay, so we're going to have our scale is going to go 0 to what? To 12, and we're marking the scales by 2's, okay? Right, we counted by 2's to go up it to make sure that there's enough to include the biggest number that's of the information that we have here. Okay, now we need to label the different people, right? We have Sam, Matt, Ben, and Erica. Those are the 4 people that went on the school walkathon that walked a distance. So we're going to start with Sam here, S-A-M. Then we have Matt, M-A-T-T. Then we have Ben, B-E-N. Then we have Erica, E-R-I-C-A. And these are the students that did the walking. Okay? The students, those are the students' names. Okay, now on Sam, we're going to go all the way up to 10. So we're going to draw a line starting at 0, going to go all the way up to the 10 line, go across, and come back down. And we're going to shade it in a little bit to show that it is a bar. This is called a vertical bar graph because it's going up. The other one we did earlier was a horizontal because it was going sideways like the horizon. Okay, now Matt had 5 miles that he walked. Now you got to remember your graph is marked from 4 to 6, so 5 is halfway between. So you're going to stop halfway between the 4 and the 6 for that bar graph. Okay, so that's going to go there. Then Ben went for 2, so he's going to go up to this first line, up to the 2 line, where the 2 comes across. Erica has 8, so she's going to go over 2, 4, 6, 8. Going to go to the 8 line and shade those in. All right, so now we have our information in our bar graph. Oh, we forgot to title it. It's called the School, SCHOOL, Walk, WALK dash A dash THON. School Walkathon. I should have titled that first. I'm sorry. Oh, now we got it all labeled, right? Okay, now it says here, which student walked the most miles? Okay, so out of these, which one walked the most miles? You're right, it's Sam. How can you tell? Because Sam's is the tallest bar graph. And if you look over here, Sam has the biggest number, right? Okay, number 2 says, how many more miles, or how many more means you're going to do what? Somewhere you're going to subtract, right? How many more miles would Matt have to walk to equal the number of miles that Erica walked? Okay, so now you're going to compare Matt and Erica. Okay, now Matt had 5, Erica had 8. So what are we going to do? We're going to do how many more miles? You can go 8 minus 5. Why would you not do 5 minus 8? You're right, because 5 is smaller than 8, and you have to put the biggest number on top. So 5 minus 8, or 8 minus 5 is what? Is 3. So she walked, Eric would need to have walked 3 more miles to equal what Erica walked. Okay, the next one says, how many miles in all did the students walk? So they're putting them all together. How many miles did all of them walk together? All right, so now you're going to take all those numbers and you're going to add them, right? Because it says in all. Did all the students, all of them? Okay, so you're going to go 10, 5, 2, and 8. Okay, when I'm adding like this, I like to try to find numbers that go easily together. 8 and 2 make 10, plus 5 more is 15. So put the 5 down, carry the 1. 1, 2. So 25 miles they walked in all. Okay, last one here. It says, write the number of miles the students walked in order from the greatest to the least. So the numbers in order from the greatest number to the least. Now remember, greatest means the biggest, right? So what was the number of the most miles? Not the name of the student who walked the most miles, but what is the number of miles that was the farthest? Sam here has the highest one. That's at 10. So 10 would be first. Then what number is next highest? Right, Erica is next. 10. Erica walked 8. Then which one is the next highest? Matt or Ben? Right, Matt is higher, and that is a 5. And then Ben walked 2 miles. So the number of miles the students walked in order from the greatest to the least would start off with 10, 8, 5, and 2 miles. Greatest to the least, the largest to the smallest. All right, it was a quick lesson today. Oh, we still got one more page to go. Here we go. All right, Susie recorded the number of points some basketball players scored. Use the data in the table to make a bar graph. Choose a number so that most of the bars will end on a line. Okay? All right, now let's look at our numbers over here. Our numbers are 10, 30, 5, 25, and 10. Okay, so what does that look like? What might we be able to fill in the blanks over here to make it to where most of the numbers will end on a line? Let's see, this is a multiple of 10. This is a multiple of 10, multiple of 5, multiple of 5, multiple of 10. Let's see, we've got to make it all the way up to 30, don't we? That's our biggest number. So if we started here, 0, we know that this is going to be 0. If we counted by 5s, could we get to 30? 5, 10, 15, 20. No, we couldn't, so we can't do that. So we want to do it bigger than 5, but where some of them are going to end on a line, okay? So I would look at 10s. We got to make it up to 30, so could we do it 10, 20, 30, 40. Yes, that would work. And you would have actually 3 of them end on one of those. So 0, then 10, then 20, then 30, and then 40. And these are the number of points. N-U-M-B-E-R of points. P-O-I-N-T-S. Okay, and coming down the side, we're going to put the players' names. We have Billy, B-I-L-L-Y, Dwight, D-W-I-G-H-T, James, J-A-M-E-S, Raul, R-A-U-L, and Sean, S-E-A-N. And the title of our chart is Points Scored, P-O-I-N-T-S, scored, S-C-O-R-E-D. All right, so now we're going to fill the information in. Billy went 10. So we're going to have Billy, he's going to go this first line because remember our lines are grouped by tens. So each line is a different multiple of 10. Okay, so Dwight made 30. So you're going to go 10, 20, 30. His bar line is going to go out to 30. Shade that in just a little bit so you can see it better. And then James has 15. Okay, now we don't have a 15 here, but we have a 10 and a 20. Do you remember what to do? Right, 15 is halfway between the 10 and the 20, so you can go halfway between them and come down like that. So it's 15. It's more than 10 and it's less than 20. How about Raul? He has 25. Okay, now we don't have a 25 down here at the bottom, but we have a 20 and a 30, don't we? So we're going to go halfway between the 20 and the 30. That makes 25. Shade that in just a little bit so you can see it well. And then Sean has what? Has 10 also, so that's easy. Just go out to that first line and come back. All right, so now we got our horizontal bar graph going. All right, so it says here, which player scored the most points? So which one sticks out the furthest? Out here, that's Dwight. So D-W-I-G-H-T. Dwight scored the most points. And then it says, write and solve a new problem that matches the data in your bar graph. Okay, now this one doesn't matter if it's an addition or subtraction problem. I know some of y'all on your homework, at least in my class, when you had to write one of these questions, it asked for a subtraction problem and a word problem to go with it. So make sure you do that. This one doesn't say whether you have to add or subtract. You just have to use the information that's up here. So I'm going to sit here and say, which players scored the same number of points? I could answer that by looking at this, couldn't I? And there are 2 players that scored the same number of points. So I can say, which players scored the same number of points? Okay, I don't even have to do a math problem with this one. Okay, now you could have come up with something else. You could have said, how many more points did Dwight score than Raul? Or how many did Sean and Raul score compared to Dwight's? You know, you could have done a whole lot of different things, but I just try to keep it kind of easy. So which players scored the same number of points? That would be Billy and Sean, each of them with 10 points. Okay, which player scored 10 fewer points than Raul? Okay, Raul scored 25 points, right? 25 points is how many Raul scored. And they want to find out who scored 10 fewer. So what are you going to do to 25? You're going to make it 10 fewer. So you're going to have to take away 10 points. That gives you 5 and a 1. So 15 points, okay, is what we're looking for. But it doesn't ask for what's the total of the points. It asks for which player scored 15 points. Well, if you look up here, James did. So the correct answer is James. So make sure you put that on there. Number 9 says, what if James scored 5 more points? How many points in all did the 5 players score? Okay, so if James scored 5 points more, if James scored, he had 15, so James would be 15, and if he scored 5 more points, he would have had 20, right? And then it says how many points in all did the 5 players scored. So if James has 20, they want the totals for all of them, but James, we're gonna change it to 20 instead of 15. So we have Billy with 10, we have Dwight with 30, we have James with our new number of 20, we have Raul with 25, and we have Sean with 10. So let's add this up. I got it down here in the corner. I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 5 zeros. So that we're going to add it up. So that's a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There would be 95 points. All the players would score together if James scored 5 more points. Okay, all right, let's flip it over to the next page, 644. This is part of your homework. I want you to do page 644, 645, and 646. Please do those problems, take a picture of them, and post it on your assignment. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.